This podcast is sponsored by IQ Bar.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ Bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 7 plant protein bars, 4 hydration mixes, and 4 enhanced coffee sticks. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20 to get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Again, go to eatiqbar.com and enter code BAR20.
Hey everybody, how are you today? Now, listen to this. What if I told you that a simple shift in your words could transform your relationships overnight? That's what we'll be talking about today. We'll be right back after our intro.
Let's talk about love and marriage the way that God intended. A life experience, here we share it. The No Fruit Podcast. Tune in from any platform. No Fruit Podcast. Will help your spirit transform.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on? How are y'all feeling this new year?
Happy New Year, everyone.
And so, as you heard in our little intro, we're talking about just a simple shifts in your words and how they could transform your relationships overnight. And I can speak from my own experience, how that has happened for us.
Yes.
At one time, you have to look at yourself.
Self-examine. As Maurice likes to say, look at the man in the mirror.
Yeah, right.
Or a woman in the mirror.
And I do that, or I've been saying that a lot recently because I didn't realize as how my words was really affecting everything that was going on in our lives. And so, and it started with really a like you said, looking in the mirror for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I really had to look in the mirror and say, hey, what am I doing that is hurting us? And some of that wasn't necessarily words directly to Kafa initially, or at least on the outside. It was words that I was also saying to myself.
Right.
That I'm not good enough, that I'm not worthy, or whatever it might have been. And so I think those things I had to examine for myself.
The negative self-talk.
Yes, because it happened often.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It happened often. What about yourself?
I think, negative self-talk is something that a lot of us do.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it is, as Marie said, is a self-evaluation of just understanding our upbringing.
Right.
And how others may have dealt with that and handled that, and even what we were victims of growing up in the inner city, the heart of Philadelphia. Not always the most social child of the bunch, always not the most popular child of the bunch. So I got picked on. Having a name like Kafa, like who says that and how you spell it and what does that mean and where are you from and, all those things each and every single time, every new school that I went to, sometimes even a new class, not only just the students, but even the instructor or the teacher didn't know how to pronounce it. Didn't come and pull me to the side ahead of time and was like, how do you pronounce your name? No, but it was in front of the whole entire class, and so you go through that from all those ages from 6 on, even through college, of trying to explain who you are, what your name means, how it's pronounced. Is there a nickname? And I didn't come up with a nickname until several years ago, maybe 10 years ago. I came up with a name. a nickname, but before it was always, no, that's my name. Figure it out. Like, call me by my name.
Say my name. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, you know, it wasn't until just recently, it was just like, oh, call me Kay. Like, let's just cut to the, I think because of the career that I'm in now, I was dealing with so many people. And it was just easier to kind of say Kay versus.
I mean, what was different before? I mean, because it's not like you've been, any of your jobs that you've had thus far, with me being around, where you were only, let's say, one-on-one with any one particular person, or often one-on-one.
But it was momentarily. So I may see, you know, a group of people and then I not see them ever again. So if they knew my name for that period of time, or they knew my last name or that type of thing, or didn't need, you know.
I mean, so when you say the last 10 years, or you, you know, so I'll give you an example, right? You know, so when you and I first got together, you were in the research field, quote unquote, where you were kind of seeing people all the time. You know, you didn't have them calling you Kate then, but you saw people all the time now.
Right.
You know, or how about when you were...
They didn't call me by my name. They didn't call me anything. It was just, again, I only saw them once a year.
Okay.
So they didn't need to have a relationship with me to really know. It was just like, hey, I'm the research lady. I'm coming by. I'm associated with your caseworker. Right. I mean, one little kid was like, they go to $10 lady, because I would pay them $10 to do the research. You know, so there was no need to address me or for me to really address them. Yeah, when I picked up the phone and called them. But even then, that was, you know, it was pre-email. So they weren't sending me email or anything like that. I only needed to reach out to them, again, annually or biannually, just for them to do this research, you know, component.
Now, what about when you were doing the classes? Because you know, again, a lot of people at that time as well.
So I think that's kind of when I started the K.
Because that was before 10 years ago.
I guess.
Here's the reason I'm saying this. You know, because sometimes we don't take a look at what might have contributed to it prior to that change. Like, because 10 years ago, you might not have been teaching classes, but were you were in a senior center, you know, and so you were with people all day, every day.
Right. And that, you know, they called me Kay or whatever. So,
you know, and
so again, I'm thinking 10 years, and you're correct. So it was more than 10 years ago when I started teaching the classes, joined as a health educator. So I guess as a health educator, then yes, those people I was with on a weekly basis and getting in, because I'm a health educator, I'm finding out intimate things about them on what their health ailments were, whatever that is, and trying to help them through that on an educational platform. So yes, I didn't say, hey, just call me Kafa or call me Chisholm or Mrs. Chisholm or whatever.
And I brought it up for this reason, because there were moments where you did come off as if you were getting frustrated with telling people who your name, you know, what your name was or whatever else. Because again, when we first got together, you were like, hey, I want my name in lights so everybody could pronounce my name correctly.
Right. And then I, you know, still dealt with, well, how is it pronounced and why is it pronounced that way and not that way? I met other people with the same name and they didn't pronounce it that way. So how do I stand up and say it's this when other people pronounce it another way? And it can be, you know, somebody's name, your name example, you know, some people say Morris and some people say Maurice.
Right.
You know, so what's the correct way is the way that you say it. So that's the way that it is.
And so something as simple as that, right? And you've been dealing with it for how long? You know, now I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't deal with the quote unquote mispronunciation of Maurice until I was an adult.
Right. And that's how I was, like, but
overall, before that, everyone knew my name was Maurice. I don't care who it was. And then, but it came down to meeting other nationalities, ethnic groups, things like that, where you start to understand, hey, the name is pronounced differently. It means something different in other languages and all the other type of stuff. And so I'm like, all right, well, who am I?
Right. And that gets back to where we started this with,
right,
just the negative self-talk of who am I? Do I fit in? And all of those things. So to your point, yes, sometimes the communication issues come from how you're communicating to yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and then how that then impacts how you communicate with others.
Right.
How positive or not so positive do you feel about yourself, and then that messaging that you're providing in to the world and to others. So as you were saying, hey, if you're not feeling that great with yourself, then how do you communicate positivity and success in your relationship? Again, that's either with your spouse or with a family member or even in the workplace. It can be difficult. And that's something that we have to learn how to get through. And it can be tough.
Right.
It can be tough. And it's not something that's easy to do. But I think one of the first things is understanding that, hey, what's going on? How am I showing up for myself?
Right.
And how am I showing up to the world? And then that also can lend to, well, am I putting on a facade for the world and coming off happy to everyone else, but deep down inside, I don't feel the best about myself and my situation. And that's a whole nother
Ken Caboodle.
That's a whole nother show, basically. So basically, today's show, as Maurice was saying, is, what if I told you that there are some single shifts that you can do that can transform your relationship, even overnight. So what are some of those things that we can do is just changing our mindset,
Right.
And as Maurice said, understanding the self-talk. And some of that is great information that is reviewed in your book, the Well Why Not book.
Right.
I think you have a whole section that talks about self-talk and negative self-talk and how to change that into a positive. And then we talked a lot about that in some of my health classes that I led many years ago, but I think the Well Why Not workbook goes into that a little bit.
Yeah. So just stay tuned for a moment. We're going to take a little break real quick and find a little bit more about the Well Why Not workbook.
Introducing Well, Why Not the Workbook, the transformative workbook for your journey of self-discovery and growth. Uncover your true purpose, overcome challenges, and embrace fulfillment. Let Well, Why Not the Workbook be your trusted companion in navigating life's twists and turns. Embrace your potential. Discover your why. Transform your life. Purchase Well, Why Not the Workbook because your journey deserves purpose and fulfillment. You can purchase today on Amazon.com.
I thank y'all very much for listening to that. The workbook, I put a lot of effort into putting it together. The book itself is supposed to help you through finding your why. A lot of times we lose it, and based off of what we're talking about right now with just simple communication, when we lose track of who we really are and what we're really about and what we're trying to accomplish, a lot of times we lose it. Because we get caught up in being someone else, something else. And even in relationships, right, we can lose ourselves in that, domestic relationship, whether we're married or boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever, even parents.
For any relationship, I think we lose ourselves or we identify ourselves as one thing.
Right.
I'm the husband. I'm the provider. I'm the wife. I'm, the nurturer. I'm the secretary. You know what I mean? I'm the administrator. I'm the boss.
Right.
And we get stuck in that only, but we're so much more, as Maurice tries to help people understand, like, why are you the boss? Why are you the husband? Why are you the mom?
Right.
And what is that for you? Not, not for everybody else, because you're the mom for everybody else.
Right.
You're the provider and the boss for everybody else, because you're the boss of someone else. But what are you for yourself, and what does that mean to you? And then once you figure that out, then you can show up better for everyone else.
But so, and you touched on something as well. What environment did you grow up in?
Yes.
Because that's your first form of communication. And if that communication is broken from the beginning, how much time does it take for you to change it a little bit? Especially when, and we had just watched a movie not too long ago where an individual grew up in the hood, then they go off to a pretty prestigious school, being Yale or whatever it is, and the father he kind of felt some type of way, especially with him being in jail, that this young man was going to go to school, and the father really wanted him to help him out, to get out. And so the young man could have lost himself in focusing 100% on trying to get his dad out,
Right.
and not understanding that, hey, me being around this group of people that's not normally looking like us, that doesn't sound like us, can, help me get you out
Right.
of the situation. And so sometimes we have to surround ourselves with people that don't even communicate the same way that we normally do, in order for the message to become, to come across, and how we can speak the language and the terms and the vernacular, whatever, however, whatever way you want to word it. So I think those are the type of things that we need to understand, that the way we communicate matters. And even when I said something to the young man not too long ago, and I think I said the story on here, where the young man was having relationship issues, and the young lady had blocked him on all social media, and I told him to write a letter. Yes. Again, another form of communication. And so sometimes in that form of communication, where you got to take your time, choose your words because you're writing it down, even writing it so someone can is legible, because I look like somebody, chickens got my hands like they're doing my signature all the time, so I think those type of things that we have to understand, because we've lost the form of communication.
Yes.
We speak Comfort says I speak in riddles, but I think I'm caught between saying a full sentence and writing a Twitter, thing or something sometimes, because we're so much on social media. Yes. And everything is short. Even when we try to eat something, there's always microwave mentality. If in your mindset that's supposed to take 1 hour, we keep it at 1 hour. Well, we don't factor in all the other parts that goes to cooking something. Right. Right. Temperature in the house, temperature in the room, temperature, maybe the oven or the stove, or, the air fryer. Maybe it's just off for 1 or 2 degrees because of that day and humidity. Like, there's so many other factors we have to consider, but we get caught up in traditionalism. We get caught up in time. We get caught up in all these other things, not considering the totality of the situation. Right. And I think that's what happens when we communicate. We don't always factor in, just because I feel like this is right now, that doesn't mean that person's going to accept it.
And my right may not be your right.
Especially at that time.
So like you said, even with our names, they may be thinking, because they're from a different culture, that it's pronounced a different way. Right. You know what I mean? Like, you have 2 vowels next to your name. So in some cultures, you would have to pronounce both vowels.
I just want you to understand something, right?
He's sitting here trying to spell out his name. He's like, I have 2 vowels.
I got 2. I'm like,
next to each other.
Really?
Yes.
Do I really? I guess I do.
Yes. So in some cultures, you would pronounce each vowel. Like, the vowel sound is in its own syllable. So instead of you having 2 syllables.
Or ice.
Mauricio, or Maurice. Yeah. So yes, people may want to pronounce each of those vowels separately. That's right. So where you have pronouncing it differently, right. So again, likewise with my name, is that a short A or a long A? Mm-hmm. Is the I pronounced as an I or an E or mm-hmm. something else? Mm-hmm. So, or is Kafa really the nickname? You know what I mean? And that's why I've heard that all my life, because...
I'm sorry, I'm caught up in the two vowel thing. Yeah. You got 2 vowels next to in your name as well.
2 vowels next to each other?
Yeah, in your name as well.
Where?
I'm Nia.
Yes.
So,
but
I'm
that's
sorry.
Pronounced 2 separate syllables.
I guess it is.
Yes. So the two do not become one in that.
Erase that. Erase that idea. But because I'm thinking like, where's that 2 other vowels? I guess because Janae
It's the A and the E, yes.
Yeah. So do they cancel? I mean, I guess the U is not really. I'm sorry, y'all.
He's
on a-
communicating unto himself in his brain. So.
I'm having like 8 different conversations in my head.
Yes.
I'm
So, I
sorry.
mean, I think in a relationship, just identifying something that, that you can change, and that'll help you make a shift into the right direction within your relationship, I think. Whether it's you and a supervisor or you and a subordinate, you and a spouse, you and a child, you and a parent, sometimes you have to be more compassionate, be more understanding, be more open, be, something. And that shift, be something. And that shift can help grow the relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I think when you dig your heels down into something and don't allow for things to, especially yourself, to change and to grow, then the relationship doesn't grow.
Yeah.
So that's my thought.
I mean, and I think that was perfect. I mean, there's nothing more that I could really say, to be honest.
There is.
No, I don't have that many words today.
Not today.
Not today.
Guys,
Maybe in
a
10
few
minutes.
shows ago, we talked about this thing called 281. And today is January the 2nd, and I have used 281, I would say almost 200 times.
Probably 281 times.
The day's not over yet.
I mean, you haven't even used it today. Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet.
So imagine she said it 281 times on January the 1st.
No, since our last show. Well, I guess. Maybe.
I mean, the last show was December 31st.
Yes.
So.
Yes, so you all can imagine. Since the last show aired on the 31st for the new year, we've had some big claps. We have some big laughs. We had some big. Even the TV this morning, he even jumped because it was so loud.
I mean, I had turned it on, right?
Yes, you tried to turn the volume down because you knew it was going to be loud.
I didn't know it was going to be,
But you didn't know it was going to be that loud.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to be. Mm-hmm. So if you don't understand what 281 is, it is the volume when I am editing videos on Adobe Premiere. And when you turn it all the way down, it's negative 281. So, and the loudness is 0, whatever, right? So in reality, when Kafa wants me to, turn down the volume, she says 281. Well,
it's been working.
Some days.
Yeah, because the first time I said it, you were like, "What is 281?"
Yeah, I didn't catch it. I'm like,
that?
huh?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I totally forgot.
And he said that I would forget.
I forgot.
Yeah.
Because she didn't use it immediately.
I'm supposed to use it immediately.
No.
It's
the idea of, you see someone and, you meet them on the street and you give them their phone number and you expect, I mean, again, this is back in the day when you gave people phone number. Right now, everybody's asking for Instagram or Snapchat or something crazy. But, you give somebody a phone number and you're expecting a phone call and then you got to wait 78 hours. 78 hours. Now, I didn't, when it came to Kafa, I didn't have to deal with that because guess what? I knew I was going to see her. We was on the choir together. I had no choice. So even if she didn't call me, I was going to see her again.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's if I came to choir rehearsal. I could have skipped.
Well, guess what?
Yes.
She showed up.
I did.
And here we go, 28 years later, together. But we're starting off this new season with ways we have grown in our relationship for us to get to 25 years of marriage. Like, we're gearing up for 25 years, y'all. So, the things that we're talking about today are things that we've had to learn. And if you pay attention, we start off with something that's very, very basic today. Just your name. The name says it all of how you communicate and how you actually respond to someone saying your name, correctly or incorrectly, and how you change things and lose your identity and things like that, well, here you are, y'all. Understand that something as basic as someone pronouncing your name and you wanted them to address you correctly starts it off. It starts off, it helps you with gaining respect and honesty and transparency and things like that. So, so I just thank y'all for listening today. We appreciate y'all. And of course, go take a look at Amazon and go get your Well Why Not book today. Start off the new year right. It's available if you want to go to amazon.com/author/ Maurice D. Chisholm SR or Maurice D. Chisholm Senior. Only did it because, we got the second and sometimes we get confused. We don't
get confused. Other people get confused.
Yeah, we got confused the other day at the dentist's office. They were like, weren't you just here? What's your birthday again? No. My birthday is definitely not 2003.
Wow.
But I thank y'all very much for listening.
Thanks so much.
Talk to y'all later.
This week's episode has come to an end. But the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like, share, and get involved. Join us next time.